Welcome back everyone to theCUBE's live coverage here in Washington, D.C. for Nutanix NEXT 2025. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. Bob Laliberte, Paul Nishwati is out there getting briefings, getting all the data for you. We have all the great people coming here, telling the story of the future of AI, future infrastructure. We got two industry leaders, entrepreneurs here on theCUBE. Tarkan Maner, Chief Commercial Officer at Nutanix. Great to see you, Tarkan.
Great to see you.
Kevin Deierling, SVP Networking and Storage at Nvidia, formerly at Mellanox, a key linchpin for the success of what we now see as the superclusters and the AI factories. Both CUBE alumni. Guys, thanks for coming on. Both industry leaders, thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much, great to be here.
So guys, 15 years of theCUBE. I can't say I'm more excited that right now because the energy at the infrastructure level, the change over there, the middle layer called cloud native, called distributed computing, and then of course, the agent hype, which some are saying is going to be like a 100x SaaS. SaaS was easy, you just build an app, you put it on your PC, you put it in the cloud, put it in the app store, boom. Not so much. The complexity with AI isn't that easy. So the startups are kind of born in the enterprise. All the hot consumer, even consumers. So there's a whole nother level of builder entrepreneurship. Enterprises are transforming. This is a big part of the Nutanix value proposition. So guys, what's your reaction to that? Obviously GTC, I heard that, but from the founders, from the innovators, what are they looking at? What's it like?
Yeah, so I think the AI is going to transform every business. It is completely transformative. People ask me, should they be afraid of AI? I'm like, no. Only thing to fear is if you're not embracing it quickly. Yeah. Because it is so amazing. We see massive productivity gains from AI across all lines of businesses. So it's really important. We have a great partner here with Nutanix. You know, when we started working on our AI data platform and all of our Nvidia AI enterprises and NIMs, Jensen said, well listen, Nvidia makes things fast. We have partners to make things easy. And I love that because Nutanix is a great example that makes things simple, secure, and scalable.
100%.
Tarkan, you're an entrepreneur, you're also an investor, you're also a leader at Nutanix. You've seen the waves before. What is your take? Because you are doing a lot of things right now. What's your perspective?
Look, first of all, super exciting to be here. Thank you for being here. And obviously Kevin, my brother from a different mother, is here next to me. We're going to do a lot of things together. As you saw some of these announcements we made, a big one is obviously enterprise AI focus. Yep. You asked a question about the fear. You know, we're in Washington, D.C. FDR, almost 80 years ago said it, right? The only thing to fear is fear itself. let's not fear it, right? Having said all this, I think the opportunity is immense. Beyond all the gobbledygook, I'm going to make it very clear, all the enterprises we talk to, and you saw some of these companies today, with Tractor Supply, with Micron, with Moody's, on the stage, they're all going with enterprise AI, and the goal is to give better customer service, better operations, better security, better manageability, and give more profit to their customers, right? At the end of the day, this is a huge opportunity. The entire market is changing, and really, really excited to be in the forefront of this with Nvidia.
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to touch upon, because I do a lot of research, hear what people are coming back and saying about AI adoption, and it's not so much about, maybe there is some fear, but it's also, they don't know what first step to take. And so a lot of them are looking for blueprints and things like that to help them accelerate those enterprise AI adoptions. What are the two of you doing together to ensure that when you're launching your enterprise AI with Nvidia components, that it's a really tight solution that organizations are able to rapidly deploy?
Do you want to take that first?
Sure, I'll start. So, I think you said the word blueprints. Blueprints is how we build agentic flows. Yeah. So you have now AIs. It used to be you would ask a question and you get an answer. One-shot foundational models for inferencing. Today inferencing is much more interesting and effective. So it's agentic AI. We have AIs talking to AIs, talking to AIs. We have reasoning models. And putting those together, we call that a blueprint. Okay. And then packaging that and delivering it to a customer so that they can start using it. Really the key there is to take lines of business. Whatever business you're in, take your domain expertise and layer it on top of that platform. And so we build blueprints. We've got a partner here that can pull it all together with all of the necessary software, orchestration, bringing the data close, making it secure and scalable and simple.
Yeah, just tying to this. all the blueprint work has been fantastic because it makes it real for the customers to apply those right applications, the right workloads. Give an example. Yep. We are working with law firms. They are crazy about document management, but intelligent document management. Yep. Today, all these people are working on these search, managing documents. Guess what? Now with specific blueprints for law firms, with our compute, storage, data management, Kubernetes layer, we deliver the right blueprint with Nvidia to deliver an applications to support those law firms to do this. This is now in financial services. Yeah. And multiple use cases, multiple workloads, and multiple verticals are becoming a customer space for this exact blueprint-centric deployment and delivery.
Yeah, that's so important. I remember a year ago I was at an event, and the customer was up on stage talking about the work that they were doing and them putting their model together, and at the end of it they said, and we hit 3% efficacy. And everyone was kind of like looking at him like, what? And he's like, but that's okay because we got started, right?
Yes.
We're happy with that because it was our starting point. We've learned so much that we now know we're going to be able to ramp this up. They'll get quickly. I think the thing that I like most about what you're talking about is that'll enable organizations to get to a high level of efficacy very quickly, right? Without having to hit those hurdles that those original deployers did.
Yeah, so I think we call it recall. When you look at a vector database, you're doing a similarity search, we're running RAG, retrieval augmented generation. You have an enormous amount of documents. I couldn't even imagine reading 1/10 of the documents at Nvidia. We want to read all those documents, let an AI summarize things for us, be able to query against it and get responses. We need accuracy, we need to get the right results. We have guardrails to do that, that's part of our blueprint, is to make sure that you're seeing the data that is safe and effective. And on top of that, we need security. And this is where it's great with a partner like Nutanix, they've got their entire storage, and unified storage platform. Yeah. All of the securities and access controls that are built into that can flow into the AI workflows and the blueprint, so that when you look up something, you're seeing only the data that you're allowed to see and querying against that data. So making it all simple so that you can hit very, very effective. We're going to see 90% plus recall where you're going to get accurate information 100%. That's secure and simple.
100%.
So I asked Debo, you're one AI chief scientist, about AI factories, and he's like, oh, because he grew up in a family where factories, he was had a lot of exposure. He's like, oh, factories, you have input and output, data in, tokens out. So he oversimplified, but he's not wrong. I mean, technically there's a lot going on in the system. So I have to ask you guys, because as the platform story continues to accelerate in the industry, you guys have a great story here, Tarkan and Nutanix, the AI factory is becoming a very hot topic in the largest enterprises, in the hyperscalers, every single enterprise is going to look at this idea of enabling this next generation. So the question is, how does it actually run at scale? Okay, so Blackwell, big time announcements at GTC. We had a little side conversation around Dynamo and KV Cache. There's a lot of nuance to this, so it's platform specific, but if you're going to have a platform like Nutanix and a partner like Nvidia, how do you run this stuff? Right. What are some of the core things people should think about? Because the blueprints are going to get up and running.
100%, yeah.
Got the blueprints, we're off to the races, not reference architecture, blueprint.
Right.
We'll come back to that later.
Right.
What is going on? How do you run these things? What is Dynamo? What's the performance look like? How much is it going to cost? Are you bending the cost curve in favor of the customer? I mean, these are the questions.
Yeah. Let me give you a Nutanix perspective, because a lot of this stuff is running on Nvidia infrastructure, software, hardware, with our software. You saw some of the examples today. We're talking about thousands of nodes, hundreds of thousands of cores, transforming and getting ready for these AI-specific workloads, moving from Gen AI into now agentic AI, and now we totally agree with Jensen and with Kevin, this is a 100x opportunity. This is just the first inning. So you saw some of the customer examples today. Yeah. With one of our financial services customer, we're doing now a fraud detection application, all agentic. The entire application is going to run on thousands of cores, and the entire deployment is through an agentic model, running on our security, manageability, automation capabilities, and the key thing, to your point, John, you're spot on, scale. Can we scale this to a new level? And that's what we're seeing right now. And at the end of the day, enterprise AI, overall framework coming from Nvidia with NVIA opens up all the doors for us. Not only in one vertical and one use case, but on multiple verticals. From fraud detection and security, to intelligent document management, to customer service, the opportunities are limitless.
Yeah, and what's great about all of this, you're talking about that scale, people thought that the scaling was over with the training and that's it. We're seeing test time scaling now, inference scaling with agentic workloads. And to do that effectively, you need a really effective platform where networking is critical to that.
Correct.
And so I came in through an acquisition that Nvidia made 5 years ago of Mellanox, which was the networking company. The great thing is we've been working with Nutanix for over a decade, and they've actually deployed all of that high performance networking, the RDMA technology, the connection to the storage. All of that is really the substrate, the foundation upon which you can scale out AI. That's the reason Jensen saw before anybody else that networking was going to be super important for AI. It's great that we have all of that history. They're really in a unique position in terms of providing the flexibility. AI is changing. I can't tell you how fast. I can barely keep up with my inbox, and things come out like the new DeepSeek multi-latent attention models, really changed everything in terms of how we go about it. It's a fantastic development for us, but you need the flexibility to do that. What I love about this platform with software-defined everything, you can have more compute, more storage, you network everything together, it just scales out beautifully.
So would you describe the partnership as tightly coupled?
Absolutely.
Is it at an engineering level, so there's cross-pollination?
Absolutely.
What are the areas that people should know about? Because I think this is a differentiator for you guys.
Great question. Look, this is a complete, tight product and go-to-market partnership. In upcoming days and weeks and months, you're going to hear more about the things that we're working on. We did the first foray today with our new Nutanix Enterprise AI version 2. Version 1 was a Gen AI specific. Version 2 today we announced with Nvidia is agentic specific. And one key thing also to this is the complete ecosystem. We have about 86 partners here today, and all our OEM partners, from Dell to Lenovo to HPE to Supermicro to Cisco, they're part of the ecosystem. We're doing new work right now with Fujitsu in Japan, specifically for Japanese market. All of those things are our go-to-market modality with the right OEM partners, but right GSI partners, SP partners, and critically, all the ISV partners providing those applications running on the system. So it's an ecosystem play, end-to-end, and this is your story, John. You love ecosystems.
I love ecosystem.
Yeah, and the great thing is your ecosystem is our ecosystem. Our partners 100%. Are the same partners, so we're enabling this together to bring it out to the market.
It's not siloed. It's not a siloed relationship, because you guys are tightly integrated.
100%.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, the other thing I like in what I've heard as well is that when we think about AI factories, a lot of people think about just the back-end training data centers, but it's really a lot more than that, especially as the inferencing plays out to the edge, right? There's going to be a lot of compute, needs to be connected, all that stuff. That's where, platforms can play a huge role in driving operational efficiency and scale and agility. I'm wondering if you could touch upon that a little bit and about how you're enabling not only the training environments, but the inferencing and the fine tuning and things like that, so the whole piece as a single platform.
Very good point. Kevin kind of touched on this earlier, but a little bit more from a Nutanix standpoint, this is all about efficiency at the end of the day. Look, we believe at Nutanix, with our ecosystem, passion. With passion comes practice, because if you love what you do a lot, and as more practice, we deliver more profit to our customers and profit to our shareholders. We believe the new way of doing things with Nvidia and their entire new strategy into their roadmap into the future, and what we're doing, supporting them with the right security, right systems underneath, with storage management, with network management, with compute management. Our goal is to make sure this is cost efficient, cost performant, and that's a key thing, because I don't want to have customers, I spend millions of dollars on this. It's one-time usage and I don't make money out of that. It's going to be not good. So we're trying to reuse things, make sure it's efficient, as Kevin talked about, from software to hardware to services for the right deployment, right outcomes.
I would say they love the passion angle, but I would just also add technology. Dr. Rajiv, people don't know, he's a doctor.
Absolutely.
He's got a PhD, he wrote the book on optical networking.
Absolutely.
They all stand for PhDs done. So high technical IQ culture. Nvidia, Jensen, I've said on theCUBE many times, he's the only CEO I've heard on stage on mainstream keynote to say the word computer science 6 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, he's proud and loud about the fact that it's a computer science revolution.
Right.
Passion, tech savvy,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good culture fit.
Oh, absolutely, and the great thing is you asked about where this is going. You know, we're seeing a new scaling law which is going to kick in with physical AI.
Yeah.
And AI is going to be everywhere. It's going to be where the data is.
Right.
And that data can be at the edge, and we're going to have smaller, lower power inferencing machines there.
Yep.
They need to be very close. If you're talking about robotics in a factory or something, we're going to move up into enterprise, it's going to be on-prem, there's going to be colo, and there's going to be cloud. That entire landscape, it's going to be across all of that. We can scale across that platform. That's the beautiful thing about a software-defined, that we have hardware partners that really can be anywhere on that spectrum, and it's going to be where the data is. There is data gravity, we're moving compute to where the data is. That's part of what our AI data platform, which Nutanix is part of, is putting the GPUs right next to the data so that we can do inferencing, we can do real-time embedding.
So I want to get your perspectives. Bob and I talk about, he heads up our research arm for the networking. Now there's old school networking, there's new school networking, kind of a hybrid kind of class. I want to ask you, Kevin, and Tarkan, I want you to chime in. You guys both have expertise in the tech industry. What's the big thing about networking that's going on right now? Because you look at networking and even storage, because of the factory architecture, the relationship of what they do changes. And networking has always been that area that we used to say, oh, well, we'll get to it sometime. As a legend in networking and as infrastructure leaders, what is the big thing going on with networking and storage? And compute, where we see that's clear, but like, those are the two wild cards in the design.
Yeah.
I let my PhD answer on the networking side, and I'm going to chime in.
Dr. Kevin, go.
Yeah. So, with agentic AI, you're actually accessing a massive amount of data. And I think Jensen, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when he acquired us, he said, people think that a computer is this box that you wrap sheet metal around that has a processor in it. That's not what a computer is. He said the data center is the new computer. Yeah. That is really what an AI computer is. And so that realization that you need data at AI scale, I mean, it's data center scale, it's massive. So you need very tight coupling. Really, when you have a computer that's at data center scale, the network is the new backplane of that computer. And so being able to get very, very high performance, again, this is why it's so important that we have a 10-year history of innovation, even before we were part of Nvidia, to make that efficient. As you do agentic AI flows, you're going to be grabbing massive amounts of data. AI grows data. It actually, binary data is much, much larger when it becomes a vector database or a KV cache that we talked about. Doing that efficiently, Dynamo you mentioned, is how we're going to move that data very, very efficiently between nodes. It's more important than anyone ever realized, I think, other than maybe Jensen.
Tarkan, you got the platform and Nutanix, you mentioned scale, check. What's going on in the platform? What does it mean for Nutanix customers and future customers of this Nvidia relationship with all this networking, re-architecting, get that performance, squeezing it out of it?
Look, tying to exactly what you talked about, Kevin, around networking. Now think about this, right? We are the granddaddies, grandmothers of networking, compute, storage all coming together. That's all the hyper-converged story of the past. Now, taking that to a platform level, you saw the Pure announcement today, now getting into both block and file storage capabilities with our storage partners. Pure is the first one we announced. Last year we announced, obviously, Dell, PowerFlex Storage, you talked about this, you heard about this. We extended that to our networking partners as well. Now you have an end-to-end story, and you saw the theme. I don't want to sound too marketing mumbo-jumbo, but look, this event is all about run anything, anywhere, right? Throughout multiple clouds, on any platform. You mentioned Rajiv, you mentioned Jensen, EQ meets IQ, right? There are tons of stuff on technology side, but the key thing also, as I mentioned, apply that technology to the right workloads for profit for our customers and partners. Having said all this, we're tying this to Dell, we're tying this to Supermicro, we're tying this to HPE, to Cisco, to Fujitsu, to Lenovo, to all our OEM partners, because we want to make sure on product innovation and in go-to-market deployment, we have the entire market working in harmony. So that's the big thing from this event as we move forward.
Yeah, what I loved about this is you mentioned HCI 10 minutes into our conversation and virtualization. 10 years ago, that would have been it.
100%.
But that's the substrate that makes it all easy. So we're dropping AI workloads into this beautiful substrate that you've built. That's all virtual machines. People can just plug it in. Containers now that you've done.
It's the backplane.
It's the backplane. Again, so we're the hardware backplane, they're the software backplane, it all comes together.
I don't know, Kevin, but my big takeaway from this conversation is networking's back.
Yes, it is.
It never left, though.
Never left.
All right, what's next for the partnership? You got a lot of challenges, obviously, enterprise with NIMs, a lot of traction in the ecosystem there. I love Nvidia, they got two sides of the supply chain. They got the ecosystem on one side and they got the gear on the other. You guys got the platform. A lot of interest in NIMs that's going to enable some of the RAG and early agentic. What's next for you guys in the platform and enterprise?
Look, I'm going to give you a tech answer and a business answer. On the tech, you saw some of the announcements today. Big focus on multi-cloud. Big focus on multi-cloud and the workloads supporting that, like AI workloads. Agentic-centric workloads, and making sure, again, run anything anywhere. Make it simple. Tying to this, look, from the partnership perspective, I'm going to reach out to all of my customers and partners. It's all about customer-partner intimacy, making sure we work with our partners very tightly. We have a partner exchange with 2,000 partners in the room in about 10 minutes. We're going to share with them how to make money. We're going to share with our customers how they can save money. At the same time, solution differentiation. That's why all this network, compute, storage work, around Kubernetes, around VMs, Kevin and Kevin's team. In the next few weeks, you're going to see more agentic story with our platform supporting it from a security, manageability, availability, reliability perspective at scale, and making it obviously very safe. Because we don't want people to fear AI. We want to make sure that folks are embracing AI. So those are some of the things that we're going to focus on. And key thing is, none of this is not going to work unless we are specifically providing operations with scale and excellence. That's why we're focusing on customer support, customer service, customer delight, keyword, outcomes. We want to make sure people don't spend millions of dollars with no outcome. Outcomes are critically important to us.
So you're the dashboard of the factory, but you also kind of got the operational tooling. Would that be an oversimplification of it?
Pretty much,
The dials. What about you? A sovereign Gen AI has come up. How do you guys see that as an opportunity?
Yeah, so sovereign is huge. I think the key for the future for us is really all the verticals. So you talked about financial services, but there's healthcare, there's manufacturing, there's engineering. We don't build solutions, we build frameworks, and that's a key that we offer those as NIMs. That's an Nvidia inference microservice. It's just a container that you drop in. It uses that whole substrate that we have. And what we want to do is enable our partners. They don't need to become data science experts, AI experts. They should use these tools and these frameworks to build that out. Sovereign is a great example. So sovereign AI in countries around the world, they may not have giant football field sized data centers, they have telcos. And so we're doing a lot of federated communications. We're putting telco in there because the first job of a telco is 5G going to 6G.
The data center.
We run that on top of our GPUs as a software-defined service. And those same GPUs now, and the whole AI platform there, can run all of these other different vertical workloads for inferencing. Huge opportunity for countries around the world. Why would you take your cultural heritage, your language, and train that in some other location, put it into some big cloud? They're going to build that on-prem, so fantastic.
We got to cut edge. Wish we had more time, and the edge is a whole other conversation. Talk about the long tail of size and scope of what a data center looks like in terms of size. There's the monster data centers, and then, hey, telephone pole could be a data center.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, or a computer. Guys, thanks so much. Two industry legends, Tarkan, Kevin, thanks for coming on theCUBE, and again, great to know you guys, and thanks for being part of theCUBE, appreciate it.
Excellent.
Thank you guys.
All right, for Bob Laliberte, I'm John Furrier, you're watching theCUBE. Stay with us, we'll be right back after this short break.